Welcome back to Fibromyalgia 101, an introduction. Here we are going to talk about diagnosis and misdiagnosis. So again, I want to say welcome and that I am so glad you are here and doing this course with me. I want to double check that you took this message from our last video. Who has the most power to change our quality of life? Us. And how do we take control? With knowledge. And this is what this course is all about. So, diagnosis. There are not many fibromyalgia fighters who have a short diagnosis story. A study of 800 patients found it took an average of 2.3 years and seeing 3.7 doctors prior to receiving a diagnosis. And I sure know the long journey to diagnosis. It took me many years and many doctors, many of whom dismissed my symptoms outright because they changed and because of my age, and there's quite a lot of things. So I feel like sometimes diagnosis gives us a little bit of trauma that we have to work through. So not only are we experiencing this illness, but we're experiencing the need for answers and perhaps some potential mistreatment in the process. So if you need to talk about that, do find someone to talk about that with. It is a really difficult and heartbreaking journey at times. So it is a tricky diagnosis. Fibromyalgia is often referred to as a wastebasket diagnosis. Doctors have to rule out other illnesses before they can diagnose it. There is now a test, but it is not widely available. The symptoms are very generalized: widespread pain on both sides of the body, which is subjective, for at least 3 months, fatigue, difficulty sleeping, and difficulty concentrating. The tender point count, which used to be one of the defining features of diagnosis, is no longer so reliable. They have found that you needed 11 of 18 tender points to be diagnosed, and some days you could have at least that many, but other days you may have less. Often, you also have to find a doctor who wants to help you and believes in fibromyalgia. I do so hope this is becoming a thing of the past, but it was certainly an issue for me. So another thing we have to look into is misdiagnosis. So one issue with fibromyalgia, besides the difficulty of obtaining a diagnosis and help, is misdiagnosis. One research paper puts it this way: there is a disturbing inaccuracy, mostly observed to be overdiagnosis, in the diagnosis of fibromyalgia by referring physicians. This finding may help explain the current high reported rates of FM and caution physicians to consider other diagnostic possibilities when addressing diffuse musculoskeletal pain. So one doctor who writes about fibromyalgia, Dr. David Brady, posits that as many as 2/3 of patients may be misdiagnosed. Now, interestingly, one of the things that he finds most often misdiagnosed is, as classic fibromyalgia, is myofascial pain syndrome. In my case, there is the presence of both, which adds another layer of complexity to these illnesses. But other issues misattributed to fibromyalgia include Lyme disease, thyroid problems, other nutritional deficiencies, as well as other illnesses. So don't be surprised if you have other comorbid disorders as well. Fibromyalgia sometimes brings friends. But the takeaway point here is learn about the other potential issues and explore them. There are some people who have literally found that addressing one nutritional deficiency or addressing thyroid problems has made a massive difference for them. So don't let these easy tick box options go past you in the diagnosis process. So just to recap, diagnosis takes time and is a process of elimination. Embrace the process of elimination and look for potential other diagnoses that could be, so you know you have it right, and look for potential comorbid disorders. Do inform yourself too. Remember that we have power. Now next we're going to discuss if there is a cure and what treatments there are.